Greetings everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Calvin and in this week's video I am pipe welding at home. So I was sent a machine from JASIC to test out. No pressure, not a review, not a showcase, just to test out. They just wanted a video up in return and I filmed that, so this is part 2 to the video. The part 1 shows the machine welding thin stuff and now this is me welding some thick stuff. I didn't want to weld any boring plate. I thought I'll test the machine to its limits and choose to weld some pipe instead. So as you can see, the JASIC is set up right. Now I am using it to weld something thick. I'm working on some pipe right now. Here's the drawing. Yeah, some big old thick 6-inch pipe. That is a big old thick piece of material to weld. I've already put the tacks on it. Here's the tacks as well that I used with the JASIC. So I'm going to weld the inside and then bolt it together with the other one right here. I'm going to go not too high on the power because I don't want it to trip my fuse, and then I'm going to go high on my arc length. So that should turn the wire into a molten droplet sooner. Hopefully spreading heat out in a larger area, getting more penetration. When I go 200 amps, this probably would hit its duty cycle and the power, the fuse will pop in my garage before I get there. Maybe 170 something, yeah. Yeah, so I'm just going to weld the inside first, bolt it together and then weld the outside. I'm going to start the machine off on something simple, and that's just welding the inside of the flange. I was running around 190 amps. It is in a bit of a short circuit spray transfer mode. It's weird. It is definitely short circuiting, but the arc length is there. I'm not too sure if the machine does full spray transfer, but it comes close to it. So that's what it just did. You can't complain. That's decent. Yeah. That's a decent enough weld. Minimal spatter as well, even though it was a spatter cannon. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Running at 130 amps, 134 amps, and I am going to do the root. This is what the root is looking like now, the pipe prep. 3mm gap. I'm using 0.8mm wire. And yeah, just take a look and see what you think. So unfortunately in this video I did not capture the root of the pipe, and I also didn't capture the pipe being painted and cleaned up at the end. But take my word for it, it did really well. So my normal go-to welding machine that I'll be doing in the fab shop is a Fronius TPS 400i. Them machines range from, I don't know, around £14,000, around them marks, from 10 to 14 to however much. They are crazy expensive. So that's always my baseline anytime it comes to comparing machines, and it's a double-edged sword where my expectations are high, but also I know what top quality is, and this machine for its price is well within, I would say even beyond acceptable. This machine really surprised me. It doesn't have pulse, it only has what I believe to be dip transfer, spray transfer. I honestly couldn't tell you. It was not full spray transfer and it wasn't dip short circuit. It's in between. It definitely weren't globular either, but it was just able to just weld. It was able to do a good job, a surprisingly good job considering the size of the machine, and it's running on single phase and it's at home. So all of these things just come together to make me think, wow. So the sockets are on. I just cleaned it up. I'm gonna do 1 or 2 runs, no, two or 3 runs on this, so a root and a cap and all that sort of stuff, just to see how I'm going. Here's how the welds are. They are really, really impressive considering this isn't a pulse machine, and I weren't expecting that. I was not expecting that. That line you see in the middle is characteristics you get from my understanding, a good weld. Let me know if not. So basically, when you weld, the crystalline structure starts to form from the outside in, and when it meets in the middle, it gives you that line. So apparently that's the line of a good weld. Let me know if I'm wrong. Over the years of me doing this channel, I've been given a few different machines to test, and they're always, you know, the cheap ones from abroad, and my preconceived notions for these machines was always bad. They could never meet my expectations, because my expectations were too high. But slowly by slowly, I have been converted, and I'm realizing, yes, you do pay for what you get when it comes to welding machines, but at the same time, you'll be surprised how good some of these machines can be. But they do have flaws, and this is one of the flaws. So this torch really lets this machine down. So the issue I was having is what I have termed super spatter. Now that's when you need a grinder to clean it off. At the end, the torch got so worn out that it was giving me just the worst amount of spatter. What I believe was happening, as the torch was getting hot, it was kind of melting away the materials, and it was increasing the friction, and that friction was biting onto the wire. It was just grabbing the wire periodically, and then it was allowing the wire to melt back a little bit, create a molten BB on the end, and when it released that bit of wire, it was shooting off onto the workpiece, giving me crazy super spatter. So I needed to move over to my Kempi after, just because it had a beefier torch. Keeps melting, and to put it into perspective, this, I'm gonna have to use my Kempi machine now, just because this torch ain't just, it's not industrial enough, given how decent this machine runs. Let me compare it. So right here, this is my Fronius torch. Puny compared to the Fronius. The Fronius is a big one, but the more bigger it is, the more heat it can hold without getting damaged. And here's the Kempi one. You can see the size difference of all of them. The quality, they're in different levels of quality. Look at this opening here. Nice big one, little tiny one. It is holding its own, so I will accept that. I will accept it. Running the 0.8mm wire, running at 180 amps over and over and over again. So far it hasn't tripped my breaker box, or it hasn't tripped my or it hasn't hit the duty cycle. It comes with this. If I turn it on, it's a wireless control them amps, which is really good. Put it in your pocket, control the amps from wherever you are. But you won't need it, because the torch is only about 2.5 meters long. Fix the torch, and this is a solid machine. I'm happy with this. The reason why I can say that is because pipe is some of the hardest welds to do, because you're welding in such weird positions that if the machine can overcome the characteristics of pipe, then welding a plate is easy. I don't need to test welding the plate like that, because I know it's going to be able to do it, because it's showing it here. It's showing it here. Look at that. That start stop. That's a solid amount of material there. That was hot. Look at the weld here. Just raised over as well. So it's got a profile on it. So it does 200 amps. It also obviously does your MMA, lift TIG, which, you know, okay, lift TIG, MIG, and Synergic. Obviously Synergic controls the amps. You control the amps and it changes the volts and wire speed automatically. If you go back to just normal MIG, you know, you can control them individually. I don't ever trouble this. I think JASIC have tested it enough to know the parameters to set. And I just trust them. What else does it have? User manual, maintenance, Okay, that's nice. Troubleshooting. Alarms. Good. I like that. This is why I like screens. When you have screens, you're able to just put... Look, you're able to put everything on here. Whatever you need. Part number, MIG torch. Digital push. TIG. What else does it have? So my Kempy's here. Hooked up here so I can get the wire. This is what I'm talking about with pulse. As you can see, there is almost no cleanup to do at the end. I am running over the thing with my thing. It is getting run over. But this here is the flange. That's how the root looks. It's I think this machine's twice as expensive as the other one. So I'm only comparing as to, you know, why I say about pulse. But you can just see it's just a much nicer weld. Not to say that the JASIC is bad, but you know, this is what I'm used to welding, so the fact that you can come close to this shows how good it is. But it would be nice if it had pulse. That's all I'm gonna say.